Okay, so this is my first instructional wearing the GoPro chest harness, and so going to show what I do to make my frog legs last longer in terms of building up hair, and also easier to maintain and a little more durable. So you can see this is just the standard, I think it's the wide frog legs, 4-inch caster, and it has just the standard axle with the Allen screws on each side. Let's see, when I do this setup, I transfer onto the couch, then I flip the chair upside down, put one of the rear wheels between my leg that matches the side of the caster that I'm going to do, and so I'm going to show how to disassemble the front wheel with the standard components. So that's two 4mm Allen wrenches. We know they're metric because the axles are 8mm. So the standard ones, there's a screw on one side and then the axle is the other. They're both Allen. Let's get this part. Excuse the quad hand dexterity, please. So what you've seen in the video is the screw ended up being on the right side. There's a washer in there too. So I'm removing that. You won't need to keep the screw in the washer. So if you drop it and lose it, no big deal. But it's good to keep these things anyways. So there you can see I got the screw and the washer out. Okay, so now we have, well, you can see the screw is out, but then there the head of the axle is still there. So now if the axle gets stuck, you can take the Allen wrench that you used to loosen it. You can go inside where the screw was. That'll go right inside the axle, and then slide it out. And if it doesn't go, you can take a hammer and smack on this end and maybe hold there. Here, I draw my Allen wrench. Use my other one. Hold on the fork and you can smack that through. Now there's collars inside between the wheels and the fork. Those are not needed as well because I'm going to be using the frog shields, and the frog shields take the place of the collars. So there, push that through. You can see the axle there, taking the axle out. And one thing with these frog legs wheels is these collars, if you can imagine, you got to get them held in place, and they're pretty snug when you reinstall them if you use the standard collars and axle, but I'm not going to be doing that because I'm going to be using the frog shields and bolts instead. So you can see how the two axles or the two collars are just loose there. So there's the wheel, and then these two collars, both of them loose. So getting rid of those as well. So now what I'll be using for reassembly is the frog shields. So here's a frog shield, and see they just set right on the wheel, and they're a lot bigger and easier to handle than the collars. And also you'll notice once I get through the install, I gotta grab the bolt first. I'm going to show you the bolt that I use. So the bolt for replacement is just one you can get from a regular hardware store. It's an 8mm. Doesn't matter what pitch of threads you use, you just got to get the right nylock nut to match. So there you can see the bolt and the nylock nut there. You also don't need any washers, and you just want to get, you see, the right size length. So you got the under the head of the bolt to that, just have the bolt be a little long enough to stick out past the fork. That's how long. I'd say if have the bolt head sticking out, that's about 3/8 of an inch wider than the fork. From under the head to the end of the bolt, probably 3/8 of an inch longer. It's about the right length. So you can tell, see the axle is hollow, the bolt is solid, so durability, this bolt's a lot stronger. It's just maybe not as light. So got my bolt, got my nut, have those ready to go on my lap. So I'm a quad and I can do this totally independently with the frog shields. I used to need help when I had to have the collars held in place, but now that I have the frog shields and just using the bolt, no problem. So see, I get the frog shields along the wheel held in place there, and then I can go and I get it slid in between the fork, and everything just holds itself in place because the frog shields stay aligned. And now it doesn't really matter which way I run the bolt through, but I like to have the head of the bolt to the outside when I'm going forward. So in that case, I'm going to slip from the bottom up. So I'll spin it 180 degrees, and then I'll go from the top. That way the nut will be on the inside when I'm going forward. It doesn't really matter, the nut side tends to stick out a little bit more. So look at how easy everything aligned there, because the frog shields held themselves in place. Flip it over again, now I got the threads exposed. Pretty easy. Try to get the nut thread started. Okay, got the nylock nut started there. No problem. Okay, everything's together. Now I just got to tighten it. So I had 2 ratchets ready to go. The bolts that I used happened to have 13 millimeter heads on them, depending on what stuff your hardware store sells. It may be 12, maybe likely 13. These are just standard hardware. So that's it. I'm just tightening, and these hex bolts are much more durable than the Allen bolts. The Allen wrenches would get loose in the screws every now and then. So I just go till it's fairly snug, and then make sure it spins, and we're good to go. I had already cleaned out the hair out of the wheels ahead of time. I didn't want to spend time in the video with that. So really, that's about it. It took me longer than it does normally because I was talking my way through it. But still, didn't take that long. And that should be it.